Well, I think what's so special about this game is, first of all, Arthur Morgan is an impeccably written character. He is like both charming and heartwarming and devious and dastardly at the same time, and he's trying to make things work in this weird world and in his own sort of, you know, I would say like kind of past their prime type of ways. Like
he definitely like gets a sense and knows that it's pretty much the end, and he like there's a lot of like little moments and even side missions that really show like he has a lot of regrets of how he let life kind of pass him by.
Yeah, and I think this is a country that's changing, a world that's changing. It is an ecosystem that's changing. That, you know, they're bringing in more trains and power lines, and you know they're clearing out more fields, and it's like we're seeing a passing of a way of life that has existed for so long that has now become this new thing, and people are sort of struggling to adapt, and all these characters are interacting in that, and I think within all that becomes these really interesting things that sometimes are frustrating and sometimes aren't. But like, for example, there are towns in that game that when I know I have to go to, I sort of dread, because the last time I was there, I did such a horrible thing that returning to them feels strange. Like Valentine, I like many people have reported in this game, I tweeted about this the other day, but like I bumped into a guy on my horse and he fell and I didn't apologize and he got mad and he called the sheriff and the sheriff pulled out his gun and my gut reaction was to pull out my gun and start shooting because I'm like, Rockstar Games presents shoot everybody that moves. This is what you do in these games. No, it's not. And so I started this huge shootout. I ended up like on like the roof of a bar, like killing 9 guys. And like 30 minutes later, like I'm just like, I gotta get out of here. And I get on my horse and I leave and they're like, you can't come back to this town unless you pay $260 or like hide forever. Yeah. And so I don't have that kind of money. So I just hide forever. So every time I go back in that town, I'm like quietly creeping along the back roads and I'm just like, I got to go to the general store and buy some cheese, but I don't want anyone to see me. So, and like, that's insane. Yeah. That's insane that that's my way of interacting with that game because of my own actions, that I have a guilt. And that's something that like this game does better than almost any game I've ever
seen. And it's space it builds.
The game has a morality system, but that feels so much more organic than the typical like, you know, like
someone will remember that.
Yeah. Or like it makes a scary noise and it shows like a little downvote or whatever. You know, like we've seen that with plenty of games, like the first Red.
Like, there is a morality meter there, but it's very much like I had that similar thing if I caused a bounty in Valentine, but I have such a sense of Valentine and the area around it where for me it's like, oh yeah, I need to follow that path to get over there, and I can skirt the town if I go this way. Like creating that space.
Well, there's a lot of video games where you walk into a place, you wreck shop, and then you walk outside and you come back in, everyone's like, hey, how's it going? Like one of the last games I remember where like there was a direct impact was like, and I talk about this game a lot, but Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. Not to keep comparing things to Zelda, I know it's a PlayStation show. Don't get mad. 3D Dot Heroes was great game, ported to PS4. You can steal things from the shop in Link's Awakening and walk back in, and the guy goes like, you stole from my store, and he kills you in the store, and they call you thief the rest of the game, which is one of the first games I played like that. But most games, you just walk in, wreck a town, walk out, and they're like, hey. And in this game, like, there's a mission you do in that town called Strawberry, which I won't spoil, but things go so horrible for everyone that they're like, you can't go back there for a while. And you're like, I know, I killed a lot.
I killed like half the town. There's a lot in there, and I obviously love the game. I was telling you, like, over the weekend, every single night, Friday night, my girlfriend fell asleep at like midnight, and I was like, okay, like I want to play a couple more like missions or whatnot. And the next thing I know, I look at my clock, it's 5 a.m. And so like there is a lot there that really pulls me in and like gets into the cycle. I really love the story. I really love Arthur. I love that gang and like learning more about them, and like John and Dutch Vanderlyn is one of the most interesting written characters now. Like, I thought it was interesting, like having him be like kind of the last bad guy, sort of in Red Dead 1, but now like seeing him go through all of this stuff in the course of the events of the game, he is just a very interesting character.
They're all, they're all really interesting characters. Yeah, and it's I don't know, if this game didn't have writing the way it did, it would be just immensely frustrating.
If you enjoyed that discussion, there is so much more from that and all of our other shenanigans on every weekly episode of Beyond, our PlayStation show. You can head to beyond.ign.com every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific or youtube.com/IGNBeyond every Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific for new episodes of the show. Thank you so much for watching.